a hole.
Yeah. Why? What are you digging a hole for?
Coronavirus?
Coronavirus? Really?
Ain't worried about that.
No.
Just out here digging a hole. 35 degrees.
Yeah, it seems a little cold out.
Haven't heard much about the coronavirus yet.
You should probably do some more research.
Only a couple people dead.
Yeah, in China.
I mean, I don't have to worry about it.
Not really. You should probably do some more research.
Like the government's gonna take care of
Yeah,
me?
the government's gonna take care of you.
Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to the channel. And it's been a while since I've been down here in the studio, and I figured I'd go ahead and make a video today and get it out there just because I'm kind of bored and I want to get stuff out there. So I've been busy with my day-to-day life and the whole house build process. So if you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button. I have a whole lot of fun stuff happening very soon. Anyways, the coronavirus. Now, hold on. Let me preface this entire video. I am not a physician. I am not an MD, a PhD, or anything beyond having 10 years of healthcare experience and being educated on epidemics and outbreaks locally. Now, the coronavirus, let me get my Google MD hat on real fast. I'm looking at the CDC's website, so the Centers of Disease Control, and they're talking about the coronavirus. So here's the headline. The CDC is closely monitoring an outbreak of respiratory illnesses caused by a novel, which means new, coronavirus, first identified in Wuhan, Hubei province, China. Chinese authorities identified a new coronavirus, which has resulted in more than 1,000 confirmed cases in China, including cases outside the Wuhan city. Additional cases have been identified in a growing number of other international locations, also including the United States. There are ongoing investigations to learn more. So, they are still trying to figure out basically how to fix this, how to stop it, and there have been a number of deaths following this outbreak, and which is sad, but thousands of people who are sick from it. I saw several videos, now if they're truthful videos, I don't know, but several videos from China where people are just like dropping over in respiratory distress. Now, I said I do have 10 years of healthcare experience. I have never seen anything like that necessarily. I have lived through the Ebola crisis and the avian bird flu and mad cow disease and the SARS time and a number of other outbreaks, which it seems like every year to year and a half there's always another outbreak of something, and it's affecting people across the country or across the world. And people freak out. And I was actually talking to a good friend of mine the other day. We had about a 3-hour car ride, 2 different directions, so 6 hours total, talking about similar things as this. And one of the things we talked about is how 24/7 news coverage is just destroying our society. And I can tell you right now that from Facebook to the mainstream media, CNN, MSNBC, Fox News, and all these other websites and news stations that are sharing information on the coronavirus, people are getting the information quicker and 24 hours a day. 40, 50 years ago, obviously, we didn't have the internet. People got the evening news at 6 o'clock or 9 o'clock or whatever time it was, and that was all you saw for the day. They didn't see a ticker on the bottom of the screen saying what outbreak there was across the country or across the world. And while people were preppers back then, they didn't have this immediate stuff. It was 2-3 weeks of quality knowledge coming in, whereas we have information spreading instantly. Can't even snap today. And people didn't freak out necessarily like they are right now. And I saw this afternoon at the store. Now, coming from a prepper standpoint, this is something that not necessarily the coronavirus, that is the modern coronavirus, but something that I've urged people in past videos, and I basically get laughed at for having made the videos talking about how to be prepared in an outbreak like this, a pandemic. Now, I am not a pandemic expert. Once again, I am not an expert in anything except for my healthcare knowledge and my time in the healthcare field. But coming from the prepper standpoint and talking about the coronavirus and having my background in healthcare, I will not treat this any different than a common flu. My employer, when Ebola was going through, and the big Ebola outbreak of, 2016, 2017 was happening, we dedicated individuals to be educated on Ebola, on how the treatment of Ebola should go. We have a spot to quarantine those who are in Ebola care. Now, those are usually people who have traveled across the country, or not country, but across the world or a foreign country and brought this back. Now, talking about the coronavirus, this right here says, where do coronaviruses come from? Coronavirus are common in many different species of animals, including camels, bats, and rarely these coronaviruses can evolve and infect humans and then spread between humans. So, basically what I've been seeing is, these individuals who are, eating bats or these other animals over in China raw, and then getting infected and then spreading that disease to another individual by shaking their hands or sexual contact or sneezing and another person walking by and catching that. Just like the common flu, there are several things you don't want to do when you have contracted a disease. Now, these people may not have known that because there could be 5, 6, 7 days of basically downtime, and all of a sudden they're infected, and that's why they're dropping over dead. Now, over in China, the air quality is already poor, so a lot of people already wear respirators everywhere they go. And here in America, we don't, for the most part, because we're pretty much more friendly to ourselves and our environment, I guess you could say, than they are over in China. Our smog rates in large cities are, of course, very high. So if you live in the country or in the rural areas of America, you probably have a lesser chance of contracting the coronavirus, from what I can tell. But once again, coming from a prepper standpoint, what's the number one way you could protect yourself? Respiratory, right? Respiratory. So N95 masks right here. These are apparently a hot item on Amazon right now. And so much so that online retailers are out. They are sold out completely. Or if they aren't, they are definitely very, very expensive. So, these masks I picked up at Menards. They were $20, and I have 20 of them. So, it's just a simple N95 right here. These do not have the valve. Well, I already have a huge supply of these. I just wanted to get the modern prices, or the current prices and everything, so I went ahead and bought them. $20 for 20 of them. You could help 20 people, or you could just say F you, and I could have several days worth of respiratory protection. Besides a papper hood, which is a hat, basically you wear in the healthcare field, makes you look like an alien. Has a HEPA filter on it and has a battery pack, and it blows fresh, cool air into the mask, which I use these very often in my job, unfortunately. Besides having a papper hood, the N95 is the way to go. I was going to go back to the little flapper one. I don't necessarily suggest those for a respiratory illness, because while it does make it easier to breathe, they make it cooler, they let the hot air out, and you can breathe in through the filter, that is still a way to let germs in. I mean, the chances of you blowing out and something getting in right away is slim to none, but I would rather not take the chance of that. So a good respirator is it. Of course, some gloves, which I thought I had gloves in here. I don't have any. I said they're right here. How about this, guys? We're going to put them on the table. Good old night child gloves. Nitrile gloves are good to have in a situation such as a outbreak because there are people out there who do have severe latex allergies, and you don't want those people to break out if you happen to be taking care of them as a healthcare worker or just a member of society helping another person out. Be kind to your fellow man. Eye protection. Now, these are like $1 a piece. These are 3M safety glasses. They're ANSI approved. These are ANSI Z87.1s. So, where does this contract? So, respiratory, membranes, shaking, sexual contact. So, if you were to be sneezed on and you've got your respirator, it's not going to go in your respiratory tract, but it could get in your eyes. So, protecting your eyes while taking care of a patient or just a civilian who is showing the signs of the flu or the coronavirus is extremely important. So, I've got 4 of these, and then I got these 2 small ones. These are cool. These are small, so these are made for children actually. Really small frames. These were $1 a piece, so $6 in glasses. So this is also kind of like a kit that you guys can make. On top of just how I'm addressing this as a prepper. And then now if it was a even worse situation where there's blood involved or saliva or other bodily fluids, some good old goggles. These will cover more of the face region. $2 a piece, guys. If you guys have a Menards, these are super cheap and completely reasonable to purchase. They have a little one-way valve in here to let the fog out or the heat out to prevent the fogging. There's 4 of the little vents on there. Great. For $2 a piece, why not? Now, in your home or in your place of work, one of the easiest ways to help cut down the spread of any kind of infection, such as the common cold or the flu or whatever. I'm talking about the coronavirus now. Disinfecting wipes. These are Sam's Club disinfecting wipes. So these, I'll just read this here. Kills cold and flu virus, kills 99% of the bacteria in 15 seconds. That's not saying that this will kill the coronavirus, but there's a chance that if you are cleaning very often, that you'll cut the chances of contracting something down greatly. Of course, good old bleach. Doing a little bit of a bleach clean or whatever you want to call it. Use some bleach. Clean yourself up. Lysol. This is a hydrogen peroxide multi-purpose cleaner. Use it. Lysol is great to clean surfaces of all kinds. They even have Lysol window cleaner, I'm pretty certain. So in case your kids are licking the window and somebody who's contracted the coronavirus or the flu has walked by that window, it's just that much easier. Rubbing alcohol. Sterilizing equipment. You could use it to clean stuff. It's a great purpose. Of course, now if somebody's really sick and they have dropped dead, how are you going to cover them up? Get a heavy duty cloth to cover them up with to prevent the spread of that infection. Of course, this is an extreme measure of how to protect yourself. But it is definitely something that you should put in a kit, and then which you're going to need to break out in the case of something happening like that. A roll of duct tape for similar reasons. And one thing I don't have, actually I do have them, but I don't have them out, is actually one of those Tyvek suits, the footed and the hooded Tyvek suits that they make for spraying. You can always get one of those head to toe suits, put some gloves on, duct tape around the seam, and of course your respirator and your goggles and everything can be on. This is actually something that we have implemented a protocol for the case of Ebola in my facility. So Fortunately, I opted out to being on the dedicated Ebola team, so it makes me wonder if we'll have a dedicated coronavirus team. Alright, stop guys. I had to cut this video real fast and come back in with something I forgot. You need to organize all this, right? You need to make a list, put it all in place. So get yourself a quality tub. Something that locks, something that stacks, and something that you can list out on it what everything that's in there and the reason for it being in there. But the absolute number one way to prevent contracting the flu or the coronavirus, I'm telling you guys right now, is hand hygiene. Get yourself some good quality soap. Wash your hands and wash them often. Now, as a healthcare worker, it does get annoying to wash your hands all the time, but not only this, but some rubbing alcohol, which not rubbing alcohol, but hand sanitizer that's got a high alcohol content. I thought I had some down here, but I don't. Extremely important. On top of your PPE, your just simple nitrile gloves after washing your hands can go so far. And not only just the coronavirus and the common flu, but so many other communicable diseases that you really don't want to contract yourself. If you're taking care of somebody who has C. diff, trust me, you do not want to contract that to get it yourself or to pass it on to somebody else. So many of these diseases, the spores can live on objects for days to months to weeks to months. And that is not something that you want to be basically the reason that somebody else died. You don't want to be the transporter of that disease. So I know this is not 100% all-inclusive. It is far from it. But this right here, simple hand hygiene with a nice antibacterial soap, is extremely important. That is the number one way to prevent disease. In the sense of something that's airborne and could get to your membranes. So anyways, like I said, I am not a physician. I do not practice medicine. I do work in healthcare, and I do have the training and the knowledge that I'm talking about. But of course, you can take everything I said with a grain of salt, but it is what it is. So anyways, that is it. The video is probably getting long. Keep calm and carry on, guys. Stay safe. Do not contract the coronavirus. The only kind of coronavirus you need to contract is one with an open bottle and a lime for the old Lyme disease. See you later.